Gentleman from New Jersey.
I thank the chairman. Thank the members of the panel. First question is out, I guess, to both of you. Under on page 165 of the draft, it states that margin requirements for swaps set by the SEC and CFTC for end users shall provide for non-cash collateral, non-cash assets as collateral. The way I read this is that it doesn't mean that they always have to do so, but they have some flexibility in there. Is that the way you read it? And if not, then, or if so, then how will you actually implement the use of those assets? And if not, do you have broader authority than that under this draft proposal?
We believe in working with the committee that we can get this right, but that end users should be able to enter into individual credit arrangements with the swap houses and the financial entities, and that would be allowed non-cash collateral in that regard. But that which could be cleared could still be brought to the clearinghouse and benefit from that lower risk.
Mr. Hugh?
In terms of how we interpret this provision, as we understand it, this applies to dealers accepting non-cash collateral. And in terms of non-cash collateral, it could be things like treasury bills. It could be, it could be highly liquid matters could fall under that rubric. It does not, we understand, apply to clearinghouses. In terms of clearinghouses, we're hoping that, in fact, the requirement in terms of collateral would be involving a tighter rein by regulators.
Okay, so through the clearinghouse, then, what is that tighter range? What would they be potentially the clearinghouse would then be required to provide, if not those assets? Could they require cash assets, basically cash?
Oh, well, we allow things like.
But could they, under the authority, could the circumstances be that it's not going to be non-cash assets, but they could actually have to require cash?
In terms of our existing clearinghouses that the SEC regulates, we do allow things like money market funds and other kinds of liquid, high-quality assets.
And if those are required, could that not cause a deleterious effect upon the end users at the end of the day? I know the end users at this point feel, hey, we've been sort of carved out and we're happy about this, but if the clearinghouse arrangement is not done in that particular manner, the authority is broad enough to actually require that they may not be as scot-free in this as they think they may be?
Two of the possible ways in which those concerns are alleviated is that the SEC historically has viewed clearinghouses as public utilities, subject to heavy regulation to make sure that there is open access and that the fees are reasonable and the other requirements are reasonable. The second way, the second reason why, in fact, we really want to do everything we can to ensure the safety and soundness of clearinghouses is that's a central element to minimizing the AIG interconnectedness problem.
Right, and so my takeaway from this is that is going to be a paramount requirement and concern of you is the systemic risk aspect of the clearinghouses and their soundness of that, and so that will be that would trump necessarily under certain circumstances over the potentially over the end users situation. Let me just. I only have a little bit of time. You also, Mr. Hughes, spoke to the issue of trading swap, layman's terms, trading swaps basically and implementation of the rules with the same manner such as derivatives, right? In your opening statement.
To treat having securities-related swaps being treated like securities would help simplify matters.
Yeah. Does it simplify matters? I mean, in actuality, how does that actually play out in the real life? Because under the rules that you would have to apply to them, can they basically implement them and carry them out in the same timely manner that you would necessarily do it with the swaps?
Well, in terms of in terms of that issue,
yeah.
Right now, there's a distinction, for instance, between broad-based security-based swaps and narrowly based security swaps. With broad-based security swaps basically falling under jurisdiction of the CFTC, securities-based swaps, narrow-based security swaps falling under jurisdiction of the SEC. We feel that, in fact, because of the arbitrage possibilities that you can use two broad-based security-based swaps to get targeted exposure to a single company or a narrow group of companies, that it allows for easy gaming. By simplifying things to treat, for instance, all security-based swaps as securities, and falling within the parameters of the federal securities law simplifies matters, reduces the possibility of gaming of gaps, and facilitates more efficient responses.
We think that the administration proposal and the discussion draft got this right, and it kept in line 27-year arrangement where broad-based indices and futures and derivatives on them are regulated by one, the market regulator, and the narrow-based are by the SEC. Of course, the chairman noted we are two agencies, so there are boundaries.
May I quickly respond to that?
No, Mr. I mean, there's an interagency issue here that we will have to move on. I will have to tell the SEC, if the gentleman, you are up against a pretty high hill if you've got the administration and the Agriculture Committee on one side.
And that's the uncertainty that I guess I'm questioning.
But we're going to have to resolve it. You know, but it is certainly our responsibility to resolve it.
Right.
The gentleman's brought an important issue here. The gentleman from Pennsylvania.